He didn't damage T1, T2, T3, L1. These were all perfect. He only damaged right at T1. He didn't damage the nerve, he damaged the cord. If you damage the cord, none of those nerves can get to the brain where they have to go. So we're talking about peripheral nervous system. He damaged right there at C1 in his cord, in his central nervous system. So when these nerves were trying to send their impulse to where they were going, they couldn't get to the brain, they were all blocked. So he lost all of his spinal nerves. Moral of the story, don't break your neck. Don't do stupid things with your neck. Because all these have to end up getting to the brain before they work properly. And they have all going to the spinal cord and then up to the brain. So you need to be iced at the top. If he had just if he had just lost C1 on the right-hand side, what would have been his problem? Let's say he fell off the horse and he just cut this nerve right. I can't reach it, but C1 on the outside, if it just damaged that, what would have been his problem? He got up. He'd been going, hey, my neck. And they could have surgically repaired it. Remember, these are peripheral, they repair. But he did it inside the spinal cord. No way. Don't be jumping off things onto your head. If I see you do that, I'm going to hit you. Thank you, like my son. I see people get drunk doing that. You go with the nerves. Let's talk about other things on here then. Here we go. This happened to me, and I was really embarrassed. At the Baylor cadaver school I went to, that takes millions more nerves than this. So what is the cervical enlargement for? Your arms. Look at all the little fine stuff you got. You need millions of nerves to do all that stuff. To throw a fastball. Lost again. I'm fixing to get pissed. We're going to have issues with the Astros. The score last night. What was the score?
6-4.
What?
6-4.
Close. 4-2. They lost. He guessed. At least he tried. Okay, here we go. You're going to know the answer to this, but I'll be telling you. What's the lumbar enlargement for then? Legs. There we go. We're done. Cervical enlargement, arms. Lumbar enlargement, legs. You know what's funny? I killed a rattlesnake in my ranch, not because I wanted to. I don't want to kill anything. They take care of the rats. But the damn thing was under, I think I told you this, under my feeder every day, the same place I went. And my dog was coming out there. I knew my dog was going to run out there and get bit by that snake. And it just stayed right there every day because it was eating the rats who were coming under there. And I gave it one more chance. I said, Mister or lady, if you're here again tomorrow, I'm going to kill you. Okay. We know that. Here we go. If I'm not saying it, you don't need to know it. Ooh. The conus medullaris. What a good name. Conus. Now, don't name your kid that. Conus. That's kind of cool. That's the end of the cord proper. So in other words, here we go. Here's my cord coming down. Looks like a cord. It comes to a tip. That's the conus medullaris. And then it has strands of nerves that hang out under that. So as the spinal cord's finished, not really because it's still nerves going all the way to the bottom, but where it looks like a cord is finished. Right up, I hope you get to do a cadaver one day. If you do a cadaver, you're going to look in there and you go, Robertson was right. That looks like a stitching cord from Walmart. It looks like it's hard cord. It's hard. You can touch it. It looks like a water hose or a extension cord. Once you get below the conus medullaris, it strands. It looks like a mop. Not a pinch a Swiffer mop. I'm talking about a mop, like in a restaurant. You know what I'm talking about? You don't use those kind of with the big long strands coming out of it. A real mop. So right here is still a cord. Below it, it's a mop. Okay? So that's the end of the cord proper. Here we go. Here's the mop. It looks like that with the strands. The name in Latin is supposed to be what it looks like. What's that name translated in Latin? You sitting in the lab? I took Latin at SFA. I made it D. It didn't go on my transcript because it wasn't required, but it was hard. But I took it so I would learn science words. And apparently I didn't learn it because I know what that means because I just know, but I didn't learn it in that class. What does that look like? It doesn't mean mop.
It says here horse tail.
That's what it means. Caudus, tail. Equina. Equina in Latin is horse, so the tail of a horse. Isn't that kind of Spanish? What's tail in Spanish? I say your dog's tail in Spanish.
Cola.
Cola? That's close, I guess. And horse is not equine, right? That's not Spanish then. It's closer to Spanish than it is English. But that word, don't put horse's tail on the test in the lab. You put caudate equina. But it means the tail of a horse. Okay, here we go. Oh, that good point here. Here we go. Who's that epidural? Who's my epidural here? Oh, epidurals. That means none of the girls have had kids. What are you waiting for? We need Highland. You quit shaking your head, no. What's wrong? How about our population of smart people? Only dumb people breathing. That was rude. Okay, nobody's had an epidural. When you get one, girls, when you have little Highland, 4 or 5 years from now, where's the doctor? And you're going to say, you know what, I'll take the epidural. My wife said, no, bad. I said, I don't want that. I want to feel it. I'm like, God, you're a stud. And she was tough. I would say, give me all the epidurals you have. Where do they stick them? Where? Makes a big difference. Okay, you're going to have Highland 5 years from now. When the anesthesiologist is doing this to you, I watched an open heart surgery. The guy was 46 years old. He had a valve problem. He was getting a valve replacement. So I went to see that. I wanted to see a young person's heart. And I noticed the anesthesiologist was going like this on the guy's back. He had his shirt off. The guy was sitting there looking at me. And I was in front of him, and the guy was going like this. And I saw his mouth going. Counting that vertebrae. I know what he's doing. I didn't say nothing. I just sat there. And he stopped when he got where?
The lumbar.
Correct. How do you know that? You're ready for Highland. You got a boyfriend already?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, talk to him. Give me his number. Right, if they stick it there, they're going to puncture your spinal cord. Right? Anywhere up there it would technically work to deaden you, but you're going to be paralyzed. Look what happens when they stick it right here. It goes between the fibers of the horse's tail. It doesn't damage anything. When they release the drug, goes into cerebral spinal fluid, you don't feel nothing. So make sure when you're about to have Highland, hey, what number are you on? If they say T10, say keep it going. 11, 12, 1. Nasty. Because the needle's big, it's massive. That's not on the test where you get up the girl and stuff. All right, here we go. Phylum, terminology. Definition, end of all nerves. So is it the end of the spinal cord? Not really, because that's already happened. The conus medullaris, but it's the end of all the nerves, the spinal nerves. It's the end of all action from what is considered to be the cord. Because remember, this is not really a cord anymore. And why is that? Again, because you quit growing, your spinal cord quit growing, you were like 7 or 8 years old. And you kept growing taller, so it just kind of stopped there when you were that short, and then it just went these fibers instead of a cord. All right, so phylum terminale, end of all nerves. End of everything. Finished. Here we go. That's enough of that picture. Lab, that's laying there on the table, right? Never mind, you saw it. It's on the table, right? You have to know that thing. It was laying there. They probably told you in your lab to learn all the parts. You had a pre-lab question about labeling that thing. You had a post-lab question about labeling that thing. I don't know what they're going to ask you on the final exam. I'm not going to try to guess because then I'll be wrong and I'll feel stupid again. Like if they were showing you all those tissues and there was only 2 of them on there, I felt really dumb. I felt bad for you studying that long on those and they put 2. I know it's going to be on there, so I guess they can ask anything they want. On my lecture test, I'm going to ask you about these roots that come out because that's where the action is, right? That's where stuff is going. Put her on the table. She volunteers. I give her the epidural, knock her out. I take my scalpel and I go to her backbone. I expose the nerves, which would be tough to do, but I could probably get to it if I had enough time. And let's just say for ease of this conversation, that this particular nerve right here goes to her hand. There's not one nerve that goes to your hand, but we're just playing to make it easy. Let's say that this C3, which it doesn't do that, this goes to your neck. Let's say that nerve goes to your right hand. And I go to her and I put her to sleep and I cut that right there with the scalpel, cut it up in half, and wake her back up. What's gonna be the deal with her hand? I cut this root right here in half. We learned the other day what was inside there. Y'all listening. We just did that last week about what was in that root. The last time we were here, I did it and told you, ooh, that's that one, and this one goes here. She can't feel it or can't move it?
Can't move it.
She can't move it. So, what's inside the ventral root?
Neurons.
Motor nerves. What if you don't like the word motor? Efferent. Somebody's saying the right things. So again, these are all axons of efferent neurons or axons of motor neurons. Efferent and motor mean the same exact thing. I don't know which one will be on the test. I will learn them both. I kind of learned it as motor, but the hospital they say efferent. Which way is it going? In or out?
Out.
Out. So it's coming this way. This particular one is going to her hand. That's what I said. So now she can't move her hand. Can she still feel it? Yeah, I can go like that. She's like, I feel that. It's hot, that's cold, I feel you touch me. Okay? Put her back to sleep. Can I repair that surgically? Yeah, it's peripheral. So a neurosurgeon can put those nerves back together, the myelin sheaths will grow, and 6 months from now she'll be going, hey, it came all the way back. Now let's put her back to sleep and go over here. Cut it over there. Wake her back up. What's the deal?
Can't feel it.
Can't feel it. So what kind of axons are in the dorsal root?
Sensory.
Sensory. If you don't like that word?
Afferent.
Afferent. There you go. That's all going to be on the test. Now what happens in real life? Because it's not caveman time, and you don't just walk around and fall on your back and maybe damage one. You have a 50-mile-an-hour or 60-mile-an-hour car wreck, and you break your freaking back in half, and you tear it out here. If I cut the nerve way out here, what happens? You can't feel an arm move. And that's the normal thing today. I've only seen one accident in my life, and all the times I've been in the hospital, where the person cut one of those nerves and damaged it. They fell on the rocks. I think they were hiking, and they couldn't feel. They lost their feeling because they damaged the dorsal side and not the ventral side. Right? That's more easily damaged just toward the outside. There's the person's back right there. So that was, if I fall backwards, that's the one that's mostly damaged. That's kind of smart too, because if you had a choice, hey Robertson, would you rather not feel your hand or not move your hand? I'm going to take that hand too. I still want to move. So the ventral is kind of more protected. It's more to the inside. But again, with a 50-mile-an-hour car wreck, that whole thing's going to the trash. Okay. What's in the dorsal root ganglion? You didn't do that lab either? I'm about to just write down that lab. It's just worthless. I'll be quiet. I like it, but I don't like it. What kind of nerves are in the peripheral nervous system? Multipolar, unipolar, or bipolar? Which one? This one is. Not answering, so I'm going to tell you. What kind of nerve is that? Unipolar. Got the cell body on the side, one straight axon. So it's lightning fast. Right? Look at that nerve. That's what kind of nerve is in the dorsal root. So look at that picture and tell me what's in the dorsal root ganglion. What part of that nerve is in that ganglion? Right? The cell body. So what's the only thing I'd find in the root itself? The axons. So this is out of the way. I don't want that thing to slow it down. If this is hot, I want to be able to go, hit. So you put all the cell bodies off to the side. So the only thing you would find in the actual root would be axons, where you can go fast. So it asked you on the test what's inside the dorsal root ganglia. The cell bodies are. The cell bodies are inside the ganglion. What's inside the root? The axons. What's inside the root of the ventral one? The axons. Where's the cell body of this one? Inside the spinal cord. So there's nothing in those roots except cords to go fast and move fast and move fast. Okay, here we go. You good with that? Oh, layers. Meninges. Meninges mean the layers. The word's up there. So it asked you about the spinal meninges. They're talking about the coverings. So when you look at a real spinal cord, it's going to have 3 layers on it. It's going to have on the outside a dura mater, in the middle an arachnoid membrane or layer, and in the bottom, touching the spinal cord itself, will be the pia mater. So outside, middle, inside, or inside, middle, outside, either way you want to go. But if you're cutting from the outside, you're gonna hit the dura mater first. Which one of those three you think is the most rugged and fibrous and protective?
Dura mater.
The dura is on the outside. So if I fall down and break my back or I fracture a vertebrae, it has to cut through that to get to my spinal cord, which wouldn't be that hard to do, but at least gives me some kind of tough protection. If you try to cut it with a scalpel, it's pretty hard. You gotta have a sharp one. You have to put some force to cut it. These two are wimpy, man. You go right through them looking at it all. But that one's pretty tough. It's kind of fibrous, like the sclera of your eye. Okay, and oh, here we go, Latin again. And I know what this one means because again, I know it because it's science. Tough, I think. Tough or hard, maybe hard. Mother, hard mother, tough mother. One of those. In Spanish, dura means what?
Hard.
Hard, really the same word. Maybe it's tough in Latin. I know mother is mother. And that's what it is, a tough mother. What's an arachnid? If I got an arachnid in my hand, what do I got? A spider. And the spider makes a web. So this membrane looks like a web. And it looks exactly like a web. I see where they got that name. And that in Latin means delicate or weak, one of those. You have to look it up in Latin. But pia mater is delicate or weak mother. You don't have to know what they mean, I'm just talking. You have to know the layer, the order. Okay? Surely there's a picture, right? Right there. Dura, thick, fibrous. Arachnoid, a membrane. And then the pia is just a little thin layer on the spinal cord itself. They're both delicate. I'm just looking because I see it, and this is reviewed from a long time ago. It's not on the test. It's not even on the midterm. It was on your midterm. What kind of vertebrae is that? Let's see if we learned anything from AP.
Thoracic.
That's a thoracic. How do you know that's correct?
Because of the spinous process.
It has spinous process, and it has a facet for a rib. So that little indention where there was a rib attached, and the ribs went. So that's a thoracic vertebrae. That was good. Right. Not lumbar, it's not cervical. It's not cervical. No hole. Body's not big enough. That is a thoracic. That's not what that's showing, though. It's trying to show you the spine. All right, this is from a transverse section, looking down on top of it. So you're looking at the person like this, and there's their back, and they're showing you that there's not a lot of space in there. So in other words, if you pinch that thing, I have patients all the time that I can't. They do an MRI, their nerve is pinched. They slip a disc or something, and the two bones touch each other, and they pinch that thing off. And I've never done it, but I hear it really hurts. The pain level on other patients like that, they say 10. And you got a lot of fat around there trying to protect it, but in humans it's still pretty delicate. So we walk straight up and down, and there's always weight on it. We need to walk like that, or like my dog, there's no pressure. The pressure is always pushing down on that thing, so as you get older and older, it starts to compress. It scares me to get old. So I think that my back's going to fall apart. This is high for me. That's a big jump. You want to play basketball? I ain't jumping off the floor. I'm having to rebound like this. Some of y'all, that's still win. It's going to be short. You're going to live longer. You got your heart's. My heart's going like this. You know, 110-pound people that are 5'1", your heart's going, but you can't beat me in basketball. Oh, she's talking trash. Who are you gonna put your money on? Oh, you used to play in high school? I'm gonna shut up. My daughter ran track. What is it about? I can still win. I cheat. I pull her hair. She said, "Hey, that's smart." Hey, improvise. The Marine Corps, right? I got it. It's not cheating. All right, here we go. What are we talking about? Oh, be careful with those. That has to be a free. Somebody wrote me a really good paper. I did this afternoon on spinal stenosis. That was whoever did that. You're good. Was one of y'all? You can be proud. I give you 96, I think, on your little paper from lab. It was all written right. It had the cited literature. I learned something, and it said you only cut. It said plagiarism only 15%. Nice. Nice. Here we go. I'm still getting used to it. Where do you see that? Where did you see that? Just say in the lab. Did you see that? You're always doing the lab stuff. Did you see that? Just say it. I don't know what the hell they could possibly ask you on that lab time if they put that in the microscope. Setting up the test again, I have no choice, but what I would put on it if I was asking, I would, for one, just say, what are you looking at? What is that? And you write spinal cord. Or I'd put the pointer right here and say, name this depression. And you write anterior median fissure. Or I'd put the pointer right there and say, name this structure. And you write central canal. Or I put the pointer right here and you write gray matter. Or I put the pointer right there and you put white matter. I can't think of anything else they can possibly ask. For the lecture, there's nothing I can ask because it's a microscope shot. I'm skipping it, you skip it. We kind of covered some of this stuff, that's why I'm not saying anything because I talked about it and it's reading it to you. No, this is microscopic anatomy now of the nerve. I'm sure not doing this in the lecture. I don't think they'll do this to you in the lab. I think there was a slide of that, but I don't know what they could ask you. It's all microscopic anatomy. Oh, dermatomes. Here we go. I put a question on the test about this in the lecture. These are cool. I like these. I used to not understand it, and I was going, that's a bunch of crap. Because I saw the lady in the mall. This was probably 6 years ago, and I walked into the Brownsville Mall, and there was a lady there in the center in one of those little kiosks, and she had that picture on her little thing, and I go, oh, I gotta check this out. She was sitting down doing nothing, and she had some benches laying there to rub on you, and like a massage table. I'm like, what's she gonna do? She gonna stick needles in me? I'm like, I gotta see this. And then she had a picture of a foot, and it said reflexology, and I asked her, I go, what's that? And she goes, oh, sir, if I rub on your foot in a certain place, your liver will heal. And I went, okay, time to go. I wasn't going to make fun, but I don't believe in that. If you believe in reflexology, that you can heal organs through your feet, hey, rub your feet. You want to rub my foot for an hour to heal my liver? Go ahead. And it kind of get into my liver, but it don't feel good. No, I don't like nobody touching my feet. But then I asked her about this side, why do you have the dermatome there? She said, I just put it there. She didn't know. So I thought maybe she did acupuncture, but she did. She just wanted to rub on you and make you heal things. Okay, what are these in real science? These are places that the skin, only the skin, this is only talking about the skin. So in your dermis, where they go to the backbone, where they go to the spine, what spinal nerve goes there? So in other words, okay, let's make it easier. I can't define it, and I'm saying stupid things. This guy's facing forward right now, I'm turned around this way. So this is me over here now. This is me over here now, right? They're just trying to be lazy and do one picture. So I'm facing you, so there's the guy's left hand with my left hand. You agree? If I touch my finger with a little bitty thing that barely touch it, and I feel that, how am I feeling that? How is that getting to my spinal cord in my brain?
Do peripheral nerves. Oh.
So it's going all the way up my arm to a sensory neuron, right? Sensory neuron, dorsal root, coming around to the backbone, it's coming up here to C7, and it's going to my brain and saying, hey, Robertson's knee's touching me. It's not talking about the muscles under there, it's not talking about the bone, it's talking about the skin. Okay, here we go again. How come I can feel that? Because of what? S1. That's going through a sensory neuron. I can barely touch myself. It comes around to sacral number 1. Then that goes all the way to my brain, and I know somebody's touching me. And you say, so what, right? And you notice that some of them are missing, like there's no C1. There's no C1 anywhere. I don't see C1 anywhere on there. Is that C1 right there? What does that say? I can't see it. It doesn't say C1, correct? So C1 must not go to the skin. But all the rest of them, C2, I see C3, I see C4, I see C5, I see 6, C7. They're probably mostly there. Why is that an advantage to a doctor? If I come in and have whiplash and they think I have a spinal injury to one of my spinal nerves, why would this be so nice to know? Let's say a 10-year-old kid's in a car wreck and you bring him to the ER and he had big time whiplash and he twisted his back all around, he's complaining about pain. Why do you think it'd be nice to know how these work? They can find damage to the spinal cord without cutting the kid open. 20 years ago, they didn't know about this. If they thought you had spinal injury, they had to cut your back wide open and look. Please don't do that to me. You can just touch my finger, and if I can't feel that, then I damage C7. If I can't feel that, I damage T1. So it gives us a non-invasive way to find out about spinal injuries. And it's pretty damn accurate, because they can do tests on you that if you don't feel a certain place. I see them and they're doing that right after car wrecks. I'm like, wow, they rubbing, that guy's dying and stuff. And I can't, with a little bitty probe thing, I'm like, what are they doing? And I won't ask because I don't want to feel stupid. So I go get the nurse. I'm like, he's checking the nerve times for spinal damage. And then I ask a million questions, but this is what it's for. Now, when I got freaked out on this, it's another true story. Not that this matters, but I saw this work in Nacogdoches, and I won't tell you what year, because this is a nightmare, but I'm going to make it good for you because you knew about lizards. I'm glad you do that. So I'm going to let you pick the question, and I promise I'll put what you said, because these are super complicated. This is med school stuff. Here's the good. Let's make the good news first. In the human body, there's only 4 plexuses. There's only 4. So you have to memorize those 4 names. Here's the other good news. Because of test number 1, when you learn anatomical landmarks, you already know where they are. Without me even saying anything, you can tell me the cervical plexus is in the neck. The brachial plexus is in the arm. The lumbar plexus is in the
Lower back.
Lower back. Like, not, it's lower, but kind of there, that. High, but low. If that makes any sense. And the sacral plexus is in your nalga. That's what? Nalga? No. In between, in the sacral. So low back, if you want to go that route. So you already know the names, you know how many there are, and you know where they're located. So we're already good to go. Now here's what else you have to learn. You have to learn which nerves make up each plexus. So for the cervical one, right there, it says C1 through C5. I see that there, right? C1 through C5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They make up the cervical plexus. Now, what the hell is a plexus? This is a plexus. Astros play Toronto Blue Jays tonight at 7:10. We're going to go to the game. We're going to be on Highway 77. It's one road, like a nerve. It's going one way. There's no roads beside it. It's nice. You can't get lost. You can go to sleep and just follow the road. That road in Victoria is going to hit Highway 59. There's going to be a couple of roads now that go to Houston, but they're all going just like this. Like straight. You don't have to worry about it. They go in a straight line. Highway 59, you go to sleep with your Tesla. Let it drive itself. Here you go. Where's the stadium? Where do the Astros play? Where is Minute Maid Stadium located? Where? In downtown. When those roads go like this, and you can go close to downtown, they go like that. And it goes over, under, around. You're nervous wreck. Even if you're not scared to drive, I have to do tequila after driving there because I'm just like, oh my God, there's cars every direction, exiting and lights, and I just put the Astros Stadium and try to hold the wheel. San Antonio, same thing. Dallas, same thing. Austin, same thing. That's why I like Padre Island. Beach Road, Bay Road, Middle Road. No plexus. But Houston, so what is a plexus? It's an interwoven nightmare. How's it defined? It's on the top of the test. A complex, no crap. Interwoven, no kidding. Network of nerves. If you damage your plexus, you're in trouble. Because you better have a surgeon that, no offense to the Valley, I ain't going here. No offense to San Antonio, I ain't going there. Corpus, no way. If I damage one of my plexuses, which I thought I did at one time, I'm going to downtown Houston to Bentop Hospital or to one of those big hospitals downtown in Houston because the guys know what the hell they're doing there. They just done thousands, not that they're any smarter than the guys here in Brownsville, but they've done thousands of the surgeries. And here they haven't. But what I'm trying to get at, don't damage these. Okay, so it's a craziness. Look. One, all of a sudden, downtown Houston. Right, the mixed master of freeways. It's the same thing. And it just gets, when we blow the picture up, you'll see what I'm talking about. So which nerves form the plexus of the cervical one? C1, C2, C3, C4, C5. Now here's where it gets more complicated. The brachial plexus shares C5. So C5 is in both plexuses. Because So in other words, C5 comes out and does this. And then it goes, and. It goes up to the neck and down to the shoulder. So it gets kind of crazy, so it's in both plexuses. So the brachial is C5, C6, C7, C8, 7 and 8. That's what it says. I'm not memorizing, I'm just reading what's on the paper. Okay? You have to know which nerves make them up. Now what happened to poor T2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11? How come they don't get a plexus? That's not right. How come all them T's don't get a plexus?
Because
So how come CO1 and CS5 don't have a plexus? Well, I'll tell you, I'd cut that one nerve if I had a choice. It only goes to one spot. You don't need a plexus. All those from T2 to T11 goes to one intercostal, one intercostal, one intercostal, one intercostal. There's no need to get crazy. CO1 goes straight to my bladder. Doesn't need to get crazy. S5 goes straight to my rectum. Doesn't need to get crazy. But all the rest of these go into some kind of craziness and get mixed all up with everything else. Here we go. Now we're down to the lumbar plexus, T12 to L4. You got to memorize that. It's going to test question. What nerves make up the lumbar plexus? Here again, it shares one. Be careful. The sacral plexus shares L4. Then it has L4, L5, S1, S2, S3, S4. I don't think that's supposed to be there. Farmacia told me that S5 is by itself. I trust that doctor in Harlingen more than I do the book. And he told me that S5 is on its own, so I'm going to go with his statement. So we'll stop it at S4 and S5 and CO1 are on their own. They don't have a plexus. Look at all the names of the nerves that come off those things. You've got to know all those in med school, and that's only a portion of it. There are hundreds of them. I'll let you pick. Don't panic. You don't have to know all of them. All right, here we go. We're doing one at a time. That's a good picture. You want to have surgery right there? No. Up here, I'm not. Hopefully, I would put it off to the very end and let it heal by itself. But if I had to go, I'd go to east. So let's say your shoulder locks up and you can't move it. And it goes a month and you still can't move it. And you've ruled out that you tore your rotator cuff. And you've ruled out that you have frozen shoulder. So the only thing left is nerve damage. Well, that nerve could be coming up here from your neck. Because hopefully it's right there. But more than likely, you did something to your neck, you laid on your neck wrong, watching TV too long, or you jumped off your boat and hit the shallow water, or you were in a car wreck, and your shoulder's locked up because the nerve that it goes to gets to the brain is up in this plexus. So the surgery to fix that is going to be a nightmare. Your jugular vein is there, your carotid artery is there. Oh my Lord, I don't want to ever have to do that. I would wait a year. I'd just let my arm not work for a year, hoping it healed up before I had surgery. Because remember, these are peripheral. Can they fix themselves? Yes. All right, you see that definitely is a plexus. You pick, okay, so we know the name, we know where it is. Cervical, in the neck. Which nerves make it up? C1 through C5. Pick me a nerve. You got 1,000 here. Well, not 1,000, but a lot. Transverse, so don't pick a crazy name that I've got to remember like that. Pick a one suitable, easy one. Find me one you like.
thyroid.
Lloyd, there's only two over there. Supraclavicular, I'm not going to remember that. How about that one? You pick. It's one syllable. I can remember that.
Mm-hmm.
So if I asked you, tell me one nerve that comes from the cervical plexus, I would pick that is the answer. Brilliant. I like that one. Good name. Also, that phrenic nerve only goes to one place. You know where it goes? It's life-threatening. You know where your phrenic nerve goes? It's in your neck and it goes.
To your heart? Oh.
Diaphragm.
Diaphragm.
So if I put her to sleep with the epidural, I went in with a scalpel and cut that and woke her up. She'd go, she'd have to go to the hospital and get on the ventilator. She couldn't breathe. She'd have to be breathing with her chest, which would be impossible. To try to keep enough breath, you can panic. But again, it's fixable. It's peripheral. How much damage there? It's laying along your spinal column on the front. So you'd have to cut your head off to get to it. If you cut your head off, you don't care about breathing. If you get shot with a bullet through your neck and it hits your phrenic nerve, you're going to bleed to death. So it's not something vital that you have to worry about everything. It's protected.
What if it gets
Not
strangled?
going there with a scalpel and find it and cut it, but it's going to do that. But it does go to your breathing. That's why it's so protected. You go with that one. Break, kill. Look at that nightmare. Look at that nightmare in the freaking shoulder. Don't you mess with my shoulder. My shoulder starts to hurt, I get all weighted out. Like, please, don't be something nerve. I'd rather have my rotator cuff fall apart because they certainly can fix it. I don't want nerve damage. Look how nice, look. All in straight lines. And then all of a sudden, yeah. So it's made up of C5 that shares with the cervical down to T1. You need to know that. Pick one. We just need one. You want palmar interosis? I can't pronounce that. Don't pick that one. Radial, I like it. That's what will be on the test. I can say radial. And I know radius is with my thumb. I'll remember radius with the thumb. Radius with the thumb. You want to put ulnar too in case you get confused? It's like, I'll remember, surely I'll remember forearm, radial or long. Let's put them both. Where's the ulnar? It's ulnar, there it is. And then you had one on this side too. So radial, ulnar, both from the brachial plexus. That's showing the thing, the plexus part of it. Look how complicated it is. Don't you fool with that. Just be careful up in here. But look how nice down here. And then all of a sudden, downtown. Lumbar. Beautiful. This one isn't too bad. It's more spread out even though it's a plexus. What's it made of? T12 to L4. That's what it said in the first picture? It messed up already? T12 to L4. Is that not what that says? The lumbar one?
No, it does.
Yeah, T12 to L4. Nothing's live so far. T12 to L4. L5's not there. There's the bracket stops. Pick me one. I gotta remember these. I better write this down. Femoral. That's an easy one. Is that there? Right there. Come on, you know that one. Don't get some crazy one like lateral femoral cutaneous nerve. Give me a break. Genitofemoral nerve. Give me a break. Straight up femoral. Where does that go by the name? Tell me where the femoral nerve goes. Vastus medialis, vastus lateralis, rectus femoris. You can't walk, you can't kick. I guess you can still walk with your leg with you. But that goes to the thigh. If you cut that, you can't move your thigh muscles. It goes to the femoral area of the front. We're good? Sacral. Ooh, from us to the right. This picture shows the right answer. It says S5 by itself, and it says CO1 by itself. That other picture was wrong. Okay? Plexus. So we're going to go with L4 to S4. L4 to S4. That makes it easy. Pick one. Ooh, look at Big Daddy. Come on, pick the fatty. That nerve, I can take her right now, put her to sleep, remove her gluteus maximus, her gluteus medius, and her gluteus minimus. And right below that, there would be a huge water hose looking nerve under her glute muscles. It's the size of a freaking big water hose in Walmart. That thing is monstrous in humans. It's like that fat. You can't miss it. Sciatic. Where's it go?
To you.
All the way. You mess that thing up, you got no hamstrings, you got no gastrocnemius, you got no soleus. You can't tiptoe, you can't walk, you can't flex your leg. It goes to all your hamstrings. It goes to biceps femoris, semitendinosus, semimembranosus, gastrocnemius, soleus. That's a big daddy. Patients come to the hospital all the time saying, hey, my back of my leg is numb. And guess what their job is? All day long. Oh, that hurts. Got him to home. All day long. All day long. All day long. To the desk. 8, 9 hours. Smashing it down. Smashing their sciatic nerve. Never walk, never exercise. After 10 years of that, they get up and they're like, stand up, move around, walk. That's not made to be flattened. Even though it's way under a lot of muscle, it still can be compressed. You good with that? You want to pick? I picked that. You don't have to pick that one.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going sciatic from the sacral plexus.
Yeah.
Here we go. Boom, good picture. This proves I'm not a liar. Femoral, right there to all the muscles in the thigh, just like I said. Sciatic, right to all the hamstrings and all the gastrocnemius and soleus, just like I said. Nice, 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 nice. You're gonna learn in med school, you're gonna learn all. You're gonna have to find all this on the cadaver. Get ready. I'll come visit you and go. I feel bad for you. Got to get into the one in San Antonio. There's a good med school in San Antonio that you're gonna cut up cadavers and find all these nerves. Oh wait, that lady might have been right. Talking about rubbing on your feet. No, that's just saying where they're going. That's not talking about my liver being there. You good with the ones we picked and the numbers? All right, here we go. All right, we're going to skip some stuff because this is all microscopic anatomy of the nerve, and again, I don't care about that. The lab did that, and you look at the slides, but I can't really ask you anything about that in the lecture, so we're going to skip all this stuff. Go to right here. Got to know it, lab and lecture. The lab, you had it on your preset, pre-test, post-test thing. And I'm going to ask you about the 5 steps of a reflex arc. You have to go in the same order. You can't skip one. If you skip one, it doesn't work. Anywhere you stop along 1 through 5, you won't get to 5. If I leave a step out, it stops. Another thing about this, it can't be thought about. In other words, this person's putting their hand on a tack, right? I can't have the tack there and already see it and say, look, what's this? And push my hand on it, because if I just want to do it because I think I'm a badass, I can just push my hand on that and overcome the pain and not jump. This has to be, you don't know it's coming. So in other words, I'm going to sit down at this table and there's a tack there I don't see, and I go like this, and right, you jump off. Or you touch something hot and you don't know it's hot. Right? So it's a reflex arc. It's automatic. What's step 1 have to be? You got to have a stimulus, hot, something sharp, some piece of glass, something hurt you, and you got to have a receptor. The receptor in this case is where? Don't say in the palm, I know that, but what part of the body? Where is it?
Skin.
In the skin, it's in the dermis. And as soon as that needle poked through and hit one of those receptors, it depolarized. It had an action potential, and it fired down my arm. That's what's happening to this guy right now. He's having a stimulus at a receptor that's depolarized that nerve. Step 2, you activate or depolarize a sensory neuron. What if you don't like sensory? Put something new there.
Afferent.
Afferent is correct. What root are you in? We already did it first in class. What root are you in? Dorsal. What kind of nerve is that right there in that picture? Unipolar. All this stuff we've done already. Remember I told you the unipolar neurons were in the peripheral nervous system? There it is, right there. And the cell body is in the ganglion, just like we talked about earlier. Okay, here we go. So now the nerve is depolarizing, becoming less negative. Here we go around the loop. We come into the spinal cord. What's step 3? Well, that's kind of a fancy way of saying go to the brain and go out the other side. So now we're going to diverge. We're going to go to the brain and to where we're going to jump away, right? So I'm coming up to the table. I need to do this, but it's still going to go to my brain. I got to spend all this time. Well, it doesn't take any time because this is already still going. So this is happening at the same time. Why in the hell do I need to go to my brain to get my finger off something that's hot? What does that matter? I just need to get off that hot thing so I don't damage my tissue. Why does it go to your brain? Why does it have to go to the brain? I just want to get away, man. I don't care about the brain.
Pain.
Where do you feel pain?
In your finger.
If you didn't go to the brain, it wouldn't hurt. And your hand would just be sitting there and you burn your hand off. That's not good. There's another main reason. And me and my wife are having big arguments about it right now. We almost get in a little, And if we get in one of these, she's going to win because I'm just going to go, hit me. Except she's going to go, because she's crazy. I almost said she's Mexican. It's important for later. You don't touch things hot. You know that it hurts. The pain, this is the pain, and this is the remembering. This is just straight get me off. All right, so here we go. We passed all that. Step 4, motor neuron. You don't like motor, what are you going to put there?
Oh, efferent.
Efferent. Fair enough, that's fine. You're in the ventral root. In step 5, you activate the effector, which in this case is a muscle, and that thing is hot, and you go like this. This is also kind of a lie too, because you know good and well, if you go to something that's 3,000 degrees, you don't just go like this. And you go, so it hits a lot of muscles, not just one. Okay? Now here's the key question. What gets there first? This one or the one to the brain? In the race to go, here we go.
First.
Which one gets there first? The memory and the pain, or the get off of it? The get off of it. Think about it when you touch something hot. Next time you do it, think about this class and go like this. Not that I'm telling you to go touch something hot. Let's say your stove is on, you're like this, right? And all of a sudden you're like, oh. Or the worst one to me, because I'm tall, is in the middle of the night when I get up and I don't have any shoes on, and I hit the metal table or the leg and it hits my front toe, and I'm like, and it doesn't hurt yet, and I'll say, you've already moved, you already jumped. It's more important to get it away and not damage it than it is to remember it in pain. So that takes a little longer. This is multipolar neurons. This is fast. This is uniform. Okay, here we go. I'm skipping all this, you skip. Loud. I saw y'all in there beating on each other's leg. I was like, some of y'all hit another person so hard, I was like, that's really too hard, but whatever you want to do. And you were doing it like that, which is wrong. Right? You know that's wrong, right? You're not supposed to use the pointing end, you're supposed to use the flat end. It's more of the tissue. You use the flat side, the little pointed end, right back here on something small. But on a big tendon like that, you want to use the most you can for more surface area. If I hit you with the little end, it's never going to work. You're just hurting the person. With the big wide end, you jump. Okay? Did it ask you on the practical test next week? What was the reflex you tested in the lab? Right, patellar reflex. I don't know what's going to be on there. I'm just saying. I'll try to find that question if I can. We'll put it on. What's missing? It's the same picture as before, but something's missing. Still got all the steps except one.
It's not being sent to the brain?
It doesn't have to go to the brain. That means you can be in a coma. You can come to the hospital and be out cold. Don't know that we're in the room with you. And the doctor's going to go up to you and he's going to start going. And if your leg jumps, that's a good sign, right? If your leg doesn't jump, then he's going to take a flashlight. And if your eyes are shut, he's going to pull your eye open and go, that light. And if your pupil stays like that, and you don't have any reflexes, what are you?
Dead.
Yeah, you're brain dead. Or dead. If your pupil starts going, and your legs going, everybody starts smiling. If all that other stuff doesn't work, people panic. They start calling, putting drugs and doing everything, and then going crazy. But if the pupils go like this, and the leg jumps, they calm down. So this doesn't take going to the brain or spinal cord to do anything. It's a reflex. Did you do this one? I think you're supposed to do that one, right? Y'all don't even go to the lab and read that stuff. Was that in your computer to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you laughed. If you do that to me, we have issues. I don't like people touching my feet. I got an issue with that. So if you try to put that, and here's the other problem you'll do. You do it too hard. You take that stupid thing, you're supposed to barely touch it. And what this does, if your toes go down, it means that everything is good. All your nerves are hooked up correctly. If the toes go up, that can be a sign of something wrong. But here's the issue. I've never, in the hospital, all the years I've been there, I've been a little kid.